What is Cronometer? Cronometer is a web-based application that we like to use in here to journal everything you put into your mouth. And I do mean quite literally everything that you do put into your mouth. You want to be able to journal all of your food. That seems pretty self-explanatory of a journaling application. But as equally important are things like making sure you add every single thing in that you drink and every vitamin and every supplement that you take. And as you start populating journal data into Cronometer, you're going to be starting to build a vitamin and mineral profile. And if you keep journaling over a period of time, 7 days, 14 days, 21 days, you'll start to get a good understanding of what vitamins and minerals am I deficient in. And you'll be able to have a good tool to use to go in to your health food store and say, all right, I have a deficiency in vitamin D3. What can you do for me? You can get all of this information as long as you're putting good information into Cronometer. The more information journaled, the more accurate the data will be. And just like I said, vitamin and mineral profiles will be accurate. But important too are your macronutrient values, and I'm going to show you how to set that up in your Cronometer account. So Cronometer is free for everyone, and there are paid perks if you do the paid version. But for the most part, I like to use Cronometer on my computer rather than on my phone. It's just a little bit more user-friendly. But in the email link that you received, you're going to want to set up your Cronometer account. And once your Cronometer account has been set up, you're just going to log in using the email address and the password that you used to set it up. So type in the email address that you used to set up your account, type in the password and click on login. And that'll open up your Cronometer interface. So you'll see the calendar and it will always have highlighted today's current date. These are some journals that I've been playing with some clients with this morning. The information that you want to start populating right away is you want to make sure that you see what does this look like. And when you first set up your Cronometer account and you log in for the first time, you probably won't see these bars of information. These are your macronutrient values that you're going to track. And you might not see the breakfast snack, lunch snack, dinner snack breakdown. So when you log in for the first time, you're probably going to see something more like that without any descriptions for the breakfasts. And you're probably going to see something like this that doesn't show your macronutrients in between here. You're going to see here the apple, and the apple represents how much food or what have I put in my mouth today. And the calories burned over here represented by the flame, this represents a couple of things. It represents your basal metabolic rate or your BMR, and it also represents extra calories depending on the activity level that you've set in Cronometer. Eating up to this number should help you eat to that TDEE or the total daily energy expenditure that you worked out the other day. So you've logged into Cronometer. You want to set this up now. So you want to put the meal headings in: breakfast, snack, lunch, snack. Go to your gear up here in the right-hand corner and click on diary settings and put a check mark right here where it says show groups in diary, and then put whatever headings you want to show up in your Cronometer journal. So I've just separated it out by snack or breakfast and snack, lunch and snack, dinner and snack, exercise and notes. And if you are going to sync your device, your Fitbit or other device to Cronometer, I'm going to suggest that you change this to exercise. So it's going to import all of the data from your watch into the exercise field. More on this in a separate video, but only for people who want to know. And I wouldn't sync your devices to Cronometer, even though it seems like a pretty cool tool to use. I would rather type in that information manually, and I'm going to show you how to do that in this video. So once you've clicked OK, now you'll see breakfast snack, lunch snack, dinner snack, all of the headings that you've put in. And the other important metric to turn on is using this gear over here. If you click on here, scroll down, and a couple of things here. First, make sure you click Show Full Macronutrient Breakdown right here. With that, that's what turns on these bars here. This is the amount of energy that you've accumulated over the day. This is going to be the amount of protein that you've consumed, the net carbs that you've consumed, and the amount of fat that you've consumed in the day. You'll see down here, we won't talk too much about this right now, maybe a little bit more in week 2. This is where your vitamin and mineral profile starts to build, and you'll get a good understanding every single day of what do my vitamin and mineral profiles look like, so that you know if there's foods that you should be consuming to help hit these vitamin targets. Back in this gear over here, this is where you're going to put in the information about, okay, how active are you? So based on the TDEE value, or a total daily energy value, I sit at my desk most of the day, so I'm going to say that I'm sedentary, and I've already got my full macro breakdown here. I'm going to suggest that if you want to put in specific macronutrient values, that you change this value here to custom, and you'll see that this number here is protein, this number here is carbohydrate value, and this number here is fat. So we're trying to go from 70% fat, so you're going to put 70 over here. We want 5% carbohydrate, so you're going to put 5 in here. And we want 25% protein, so we have that here. And I do want to track net carb value in this tool, because I follow high fat, low carbohydrate lifestyle, so I just want to know what is the net effect of the carbohydrates that I'm consuming. Once you have that in place, you can click Close. So now your calories burned has changed from the 2,300 and that was here, and this is going to give me a good indication that I should be eating around 1,872 calories per day to maintain the weight that I am at for the amount of activity that I do in the day, which isn't very much sitting at my desk. So because I've been playing in this earlier today, I'm going to clear all of the information that's in my journal, and you're going to see here that this is the amount of activity. I'm given 312 calories per day just because I sit at my desk and go to the photocopier and printer periodically. The rest of the calorie intake is based on my BMR for my present age, my present height, etc. These bars here are the bars that you're going to be interested in if you're going to try to hit the macronutrient values every single day for the person you are today. So just a quick overview of how the journal works and how these numbers are going to populate. Let's say for breakfast, you click on the breakfast heading here, and let's say today you're having 2 hard-boiled eggs. You're just going to type in hard-boiled. You'll see up here, select the hard-boiled eggs here. If you have, you can click on the drop-down list here. If you have jumbo eggs, pick jumbo. I'm picking large, and I'm going to have 2 of these eggs. Click on Add Serving. You'll see that it adds to the journal, and you'll also see that your little bars start populating down here. You'll see that those 2 eggs represent 155 calories eaten, and you'll see here that if this negative 1717, that represents the amount of calories that I have left to hit this target. You'll see here that those 2 eggs represent 12.6 grams of protein, 1.1 gram of net carbohydrates, and 10.6 grams of fat. Okay, along with my 2 eggs, I'm going to have an avocado. And I'm going to type in avocado, and I'm going to wait for it to come up here. Who knows if the avocado that we have is Florida or California, unless it specifically says. Remind yourself that this is just a tool. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate, because it's going to be very hard to do that. So pick that you have a Florida. Say that it's a larger one, and you're going to have, whether you're going to have half of a full one, or if you are going to mash it up. So let's just say I'm going to have 1 cup of mashed avocado, and I'm going to make like a chunky egg salad, for example. Click on Add Serving. You'll see that your avocado is now added to your breakfast. Up here, grayed out in the breakfast title, is the amount of energy or the number of calories you've eaten just for breakfast. But down here, you're going to see a total. There's your 431 of what you've eaten so far. But you're going to see your macronutrient bars continue to go across. So now you're at 17 grams of protein, you're at 6.2 grams of net carbs, and based on that 70, 25, and 5% we put in our custom profile, this tells me that on a total today I want 117 grams or so, 23.4 grams of carbohydrates, and 145 grams of fat. So depending on the values that you've worked out for your BMR macro and your TDEE macro, you want to eat somewhere in between those two values. Let these represent your high values. I generally recommend trying to hit at least 100 grams of fat every single day. You know, you may not get up to the 145 every day. Remind yourself this is a process, and you will get more food in as you get used to eating a higher fat, lower carbohydrate lifestyle. These are just meant to be guidelines. Don't get fixated too hard on the numbers. As you go through your day and you continue to add food in, so let's say for lunch I'm just going to have a mixed greens salad. So I'm going to just type in mixed greens. Now I'm going to pick whatever's there. I'm going to say, okay, maybe it's 3 cups that I'm having. Throw it in. I'm going to have a chicken breast. And there's my chicken breast. It's going to be 3 ounces. And I would practice measuring in the short term until you know how much 3 ounces actually looks like. Add the serving. I'm going to add in some tomato, and I'm going to say, okay, mine are cherry tomatoes. I'm going to have 10 of them. Add that in. And now I'm going to have some apple cider vinegar. I'm going to make a little bit of a vinaigrette. So apple cider vinegar, have it there. I'm going to have 1 tablespoon. And I'm going to have some olive oil because I need to get an element of fat in. And I'm going to say it's going to be 2 tablespoons. There's a simple lunch. It doesn't take long to type in the information to get it into your journal. Again, you can see over here that this lunch represents 448 calories of energy. And you can start to see again how your macronutrient bars are going across. Right now we're at 13 grams net carbohydrates, 48 grams of protein, and we're already at 65 grams of fat. Let's say for dinner, you make one of the recipes, and if the recipe is in our database, you'll have it to select from. So if I pick dinner, and let's say I do Brussels sprouts, see if I can find something here. I know that I have a recipe in here that's similar to this. Anything that comes up in blue are recipes that I or someone else have added into Cronometer, and feel free to use it. And so if you make a Brussels sprout hamburger gratin recipe, I always suggest this. When you make a full recipe, you may get a different set of portions than I might get out of my recipe. So I'm always going to say, okay, I'm going to put the full recipe into my journal, and you'll see it's huge calorically. But let's say you get 4 pieces out of this dish. So you're really getting 25% or 0.25 of the full recipe. That's how much you want to say that you consumed, and let the journal reflect exactly what you've consumed. You know, a recipe might say you're going to get 8 servings, but if you've made it and only got 4, then you're actually eating more than that of the 8 servings. So make this as reflective as possible. Okay, you can see now that with that, I'm almost at 100% of my protein, of my carbohydrates, and my fat. Okay, if you hold your mouse over any one of these macronutrient bars, this pop-up window will open, and you'll have a good understanding of where the values are coming from, or what foods you've eaten that have given you the carbohydrates, or given you the fat, or given you the protein. If you're going to add in exercise, this is where I would add it in manually. To start, I wouldn't get too consumed with adding in the exercise, but if you want to, click on the exercise tab here, go up here and say add exercise. Let's say you're doing a boot camp. You know, here's a boot camp type training exercise. You did it for, let's say, for 40 minutes. Add your exercise in. you can see now that the calories burned actually is increased because it's adding 243 calories to your 18 something that you were given from your BMR or your TDEE values. Any notes that you want to put in, you should. Tracking anything that made you feel unwell, or if you had any, I had dairy today and felt like this. Get as much information as you can in here as possible. A word about supplements. So if you take vitamin D3 every single day, type in vitamin D, wait for the list to populate, see if there's anything for vitamin D3. There you go. Some of the brands are already in here. If you're taking Nature Made, for example, click on that. How many are you taking? I'm taking 5 of those for 5,000. Put that in. What that does is that starts to populate this information down here. So you can see that of all the food that we've consumed today, we've done pretty good at getting all of our B vitamins in. We've overshot our vitamin D, D3 level. Vitamin E, which is, very, very good. We're at 96. So you see the green and the red and the yellow. These are all really easy metrics to start to see now once you start populating everything into Cronometer. So a breakdown of what you're looking for in closing, as you're adding in your food, your drink, your supplements, etc. into your journal, you're looking for these numbers here to populate. This is how much you've eaten. This is how much you can eat to maintain your weight with the current energy level that you have each day. And this shows your deficit. If you're trying to lose, you want to have a small deficit every single day. Don't focus solely on this right now. Just don't overshoot what your flame or your calories burned is. Here are your macronutrient values for the day. You're trying to get as close as you can without being obsessive to your calorie count, the amount of protein, the amount of carbohydrates, and the amount of fat that you're getting. To me, the ones that are most important as we're starting out is getting the amount of fat that you need, but making sure your net carbohydrates are low. If you have any questions, shoot me an email or shoot Tristan an email. Have a great day, everyone.